Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Congressman Greg Landsman. Congressman, I really am grateful that you're back today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Of course, as you and I sit here right now, we're really in an unprecedented moment. Donald Trump, the first former president to ever be indicted, announced on Thursday night he once again was indicted, this time over his handling of classified documents. When you hear the news, what's your reaction?
It's just more chaos. I mean, he is a chaos machine. I mean, this guy is, someone who peddles in extremism, and it's become incredibly dangerous to the country, and it's spread. I mean, look what's happening, on the House floor. You've got, his supporters who have, you know, decided that they're going to hold all of this legislation and render the House of Representatives unable to, actually function. I mean, it's just, again, it's chaos, and most Americans and a growing number of Republicans are done with this. They want normal. They want people just to do their jobs, to work hard, to be bipartisan, get things done, and that's never going to be the case with him. And this is a very serious indictment. He's in a lot of trouble, and my hope is that those who continue to support or enable him, and a lot of them are friends of mine, good people, wonderful people, just need to decide that they can be done with what is a very toxic relationship.
The words chaos and danger, which you expressed right now, you also expressed in a statement last night right after the news broke. Obviously, we understand what you mean by chaos, but when you say danger, can you elaborate on that?
Well, it's a couple of things. I mean, one, in this case, what we understand to be true at the moment is that he took highly classified information, documents pertaining to our national security, and didn't give them back. When asked, he obstructed justice, as we believe the charges will include, and potentially showed those documents to others, including foreign adversaries. The idea that these documents would be so recklessly used is incredibly scary in terms of our national security. It's just dangerous too, just the chaos that follows this guy, generally speaking, because we saw on January 6th what it can do. It is just a highly combustible kind of chaos that I believe the country's tired of. And the sooner we can get this behind us, the quicker and more effective we'll be in solving actual problems.
I'm interested for your take on my next question because you mentioned that these are national security secrets. They're top classified documents. They're essential to the nation's security as we know it. And the president has now been indicted for a second time on two completely unrelated incidents. So I'm curious what you think the message is right now being sent to our friends and allies abroad, and really what is being said about America on the international stage.
It's a really good question, and I think a lot of it will depend on what happens in the coming days. Will people across the political spectrum say this is bad? You can't do this. You can't do this kind of. You can't have somebody put the country's national security at risk in such a severe way. And I think people will decide based on how we respond as Americans. And for me and a lot of people, this is chaos. This is out of control, dangerous, and we need to be done. And I think ultimately, people around the world will say, okay, they're taking this seriously, and they're going to get rid of this nonsense.
A Morning Consult poll recently, just this week, came out that Trump is by and far the front runner of the 2024 presidential primary race on the Republican side. He sits at 56%. In distant second is Ron DeSantis of Florida at 22%. So he does have that support in the Republican Party. What is your message to those supporters who still support former President Trump?
Yeah, again, a lot of my friends. I grew up in Southwest Ohio, Butler County. He's very popular, and it's what I say to them when we're together, which is, look, this is a toxic relationship, and I've tried to get you out of other toxic relationships during the course of our friendship, and this is no different. This is not a good relationship for you or the American people. But folks have to decide that on their own. Just like in everyday situations, it's hard to sort of extract yourself from a relationship that's toxic. But this is it's very, very bad. And the sooner folks are done with him, the sooner we can move on. Get it behind us, and obviously let the legal system and all of the other things that are going to hold this man accountable do what they have to do. But the rest of us need to get back to work. And there is a growing desire, I hear, among Republicans and Democrats, independents, certainly in my district, to not just do the work, but to be bipartisan. I mean, there's just this urge, desire to get back to a place where we can be bipartisan. To do that, in part, we have to be done with his chaos.
How do you think we do move on? You said we need to get back to work. We need to move on. How do you see the country doing that?
To say, hey, look, obviously what he is being charged with are very serious crimes. I mean, these are very serious crimes. They undermine our national security, our own personal safety. And it's just one of many, many examples of how chaotic and dangerous, extreme he is. And so hearing that across the board is going to be very helpful. We need Congress to go back to work. We're at a moment where you have this chaos caucus, all Trump allies, who are holding the speaker hostage, and they need to be done. They need to just put down their arms. Appreciate that they're part of a larger institution and a larger body of work, and prove to the American people that we, like them, are able to work. So it's a matter of folks coming out and condemning this very seriously, and then saying we're going to get back to work, and then actually doing it.
As the news of the indictment broke, some of your Republican colleagues have said that they really see what they've described as an unequal application of the law. Senator John Barrasso said this: large amounts of classified materials were found in President Biden's garage in Delaware, no indictment. He also said it feels political and it's rotten. And your colleague, Republican Representative Nancy Mace, said this: everyone's held to a different standard but Donald Trump. When you hear what your Republican colleagues are saying, how do you respond?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, one is, my sense is that the more that people learn about these charges, the more they'll appreciate that this is very, very serious, very different, and that it wasn't just that he had accidentally put some documents in a folder and took them home, but that it was a lot of highly classified information intentionally brought back to his beach house in Mar-a-Lago. And then when asked, because if folks know in the government, hey, you have these documents, we need them back, all of us say, oh, sure, of course, and you give the documents back. He didn't, and I suspect, based on what I'm reading, he has been using those documents, which is incredibly dangerous. I mean, and severely dangerous. Anyways, I think when people, understand the nature of all of these crimes, they will come to the same conclusion that I and others have, which is this is very, very bad, and it's time to break from this chaos.
Congressman, I really appreciate you joining me today, sharing your insights and your response. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Appreciate it.